Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to the third installment of Shamrock Valley. Thank you all for coming back for another episode here on this really beautiful map. Now we're headed over to the other farm. So basically, you get two farms with this map, and I've got to try to see if I can remember how to get over there. I just actually came from there just a few moments ago. And kind of the way we're going to play this is that other farm doesn't belong to us, but we're just sort of subletting the field. I believe it's field number 38, which is just coming into view there on the mini-map as I make my way around these small little country lanes here in Southwest Ireland. I believe it is Southwest Ireland. Anyway, again, thank you all so much for joining. I do appreciate you coming back for another video. And the brakes on this John Deere need a bit of adjustment, I think. I have to get my buddy Eustace Farmer to take a look at that and see if that needs some tweaking. Anyway, here is the farm. We're going to kind of go around on the back side and go in through another gate. And again, we're just going to sort of play this as this is a farm that belongs to somebody else, but they're not using field number 38, and we can certainly put field number 38 to good use. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come back over here, and I've got a hired worker that is driving the Fendt, I believe, behind us, and he is pulling the seeder while we pull the plow, because we're going to need to plow this so that we can get maximum yield off of this field. So let's just go ahead and park up right here for just a moment, and we will hop out and go and open the gate. Basically, this old farmer here has kind of been down on his luck. He used to raise pigs here in this farm, and well, he's kind of gotten up in years, and so he's not able to really tend and take care of the pigs that well. And his family, none of his family is really interested in doing any farming, and that's unfortunate, you know. But he's going to let us. He's going to basically let us use his field here, field number 38, and we're going to take him up on that. Let's go ahead and get this hired worker here moved out of the way, and that way we're not blocking the traffic on the little county road there. And we'll just pull this over here out of the way. We'll set the parking brake and shut the engine off, and then we'll come back to that in just a moment. Again, no livestock, so well, what is that? What is that running around here? Hey, buddy. Oh, that's not a buddy. That looks like a fox. Hello, Mr. Fox. How are you? Where'd you go? Where'd the fox go? Oh, the fox can run along the fence there. Cool. All right, cool beans. Well, we'll just let him do his thing, and we'll do our thing, and well, we'll just maybe meet in the middle. But anyway, again, hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day. I certainly am. In the real world, it is Monday. I don't know what today is, the 17th of September, I believe. And all is going well here for me. And this is the third episode. So you guys, I got one episode, or I got episode number 2 in the can, ready to go for you guys. We'll probably let that go on Tuesday. And I don't know about this one. We'll get it edited and rendered and uploaded and everything when time permits. But I'm not gonna go overboard. You know, this is kind of my new lease on life, new lease on virtual farming and everything for you all. And I've been so thankful because all the comments coming off the first video, obviously, which has been live for a couple of days now, about 3 days, I suppose, has been so overwhelmingly positive. I'm very appreciative that everyone understands, and you know, you guys are just super friends, and I appreciate that. So, as I had mentioned in episode number 1, I started blogging about the Friday fact sheet. So if you haven't taken the opportunity to go over there and do that, I would encourage you and maybe ask a favor. Go to my blog site, grizzlybearsims.com, and click on or look for that. If it's not at the top, because I am doing blog articles on different things, I'm doing some flight sim stuff and some truck sim stuff, etc. If you click on the farm sim category, it should pull up that article on the Friday fact sheets, and you can kind of read through that and read my opinions and I'll probably cover some of that stuff in these episodes. Maybe try to get another episode recorded before Friday, so that I can kind of discuss fact sheet number 1 and fact sheet number 2, maybe before fact sheet number 3 comes out. So we'll see if that's going to be possible or not. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how time goes. I'm certainly enjoying playing Farm Sim, and so who knows? Who knows what all will happen? But anyway, that's one thing that I'll try to intermingle into some of the episodes. But I want to tell you a little bit about my vacation. And what I'm going to kind of focus on for this episode is going to be the part 1 of my vacation, which was the Belgium part. You might remember me saying in episode number 1 that my wife and I went to visit her family, her parents, her sister, our brother-in-law, nieces and nephews and such there in Antwerp, Belgium. My mother and father-in-law live pretty near the airport, so we fly over on out of London City over to Antwerp, Belgium. It's the easiest and most convenient way that we have found versus trying to either do a direct flight out of the east coast of the US into Brussels and then doing trains and all that kind of stuff. It's just easier for us to take a direct flight out of Denver to London Heathrow on British Airways, and then we spend a few hours waiting and getting across London, and then we take that little puddle jumper, the Flintstone plane that I talked about in episode number 1, over to Antwerp. Well, usually what we do is to kind of give her parents a little bit of a break, because obviously we stay there with them in their house, and it's a relatively small house. When we do go to Belgium, we usually stay there about 8 to 9 days, and that was about the case for this trip. But we always try to take a little bit of a break, like an overnight day trip or overnight trip somewhere. We've gone to Germany before, we've gone to other parts of Belgium, we've gone to the seaside in Belgium a couple of times for overnight stays, and that kind of gives her parents a bit of a break, and it kind of gives us a little bit of a break as well. So for this particular trip, for this vacation in 2018, we went to the little town of Ypres, Belgium, and what a remarkable little place that is. It's famous for a lot of things. Obviously, if you are a history buff, World War I, World War II history, and maybe even before that, I'm sure all of that area, Belgium has kind of been the European battleground for pretty much all of the battles, even going back to some of the Napoleonic Wars and stuff. But specifically World War I, there is a memorial that is that the Commonwealth, basically the British Empire, I suppose, erected there for all of the World War I soldiers who essentially either were that died in the course of battle, but their bodies were unrecoverable. So either through all of the really bad trench warfare that used to take place there and such. Anyway, there's like 55,000 memorials that are inscribed into what is called the Menin Gate, M-E-N-I-N, I believe. And the only thing that I have ever seen that sort of resembles that here in the U.S. is obviously the Vietnam Veterans or Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. And of course, that travels. There's a portable version, I suppose, that has traveled around the country from time to time. But I had the opportunity to see the official memorial, the one that's actually in Washington, D.C. I saw that. I've seen that a couple of times. And that's kind of the one thing that I can kind of sort of relate to with all of the names, and just the visual impact that when you see all of the names transcribed there, it really sort of brings into perspective I'm kind of at a lack for words here, but just sort of the sacrifice. Yes, that's it. The sacrifice that so many of these young men made, and that's just it. Many of them were just young boys. I mean, there's There was a small cemetery that we visited there close to the Menin Gate. There's a number of military cemeteries. Most of them are part of the British Commonwealth. So, and again, Commonwealth, we're talking about England, we're talking about Australia, we're talking about Canada. So many of those soldiers came from all of those locations. And so there's a small cemetery there that's mostly British, Australian, and some New Zealand soldiers buried there, and many of their ages are 17, 18, 19 years old. And just what a sacrifice those young men made, as well as the sacrifice of their families, because they obviously lost their loved ones. Well, there at, I believe it's at 8 o'clock every evening, and it's done 365 days a year, so it's rain, sleet, snow, holidays, doesn't matter. I think the only time that since the time of just after World War I that they did not, that they basically did not do the ceremony, what's called last post, was during the years in which Ypres was occupied by the German military during World War II. So sometime after World War I, when they started this, and then subtract 3, 4, 5 years, whatever, when it was under German occupation, this ceremony, this last post ceremony where they place ceremonial wreaths and everything, has taken place. And they have various members of, family members that have family that are, enshrined in the memorial, are come out and lay wreaths at this gate, and so they stop traffic, and it's just such an experience. It's something that, if you are in Europe, if you're anywhere near Ypres, Belgium, I would encourage you to go to this if you have the opportunity, because it is it's just such an overwhelming emotional thing. My wife and I both had tears in our eyes, and of course I hope one day to be able to go to the beaches in France. I would like very much to see Omaha Beach. My uncle landed at Omaha Beach, and thankfully he made it home safely at the end of the war. But I hope to travel there and visit that one time, and I'm sure I will be full of emotion and everything, because I have a specific family member that I can say was here at some point in time. Oops, did not mean to do that. Meant to do this and get a screenshot. But anyway, such a powerful statement. It truly was. And again, if you're in that area of Europe, I do encourage you to go and visit. Outside of that, we spent quite a bit of time in the Antwerp area, visiting family, visiting some childhood friends of my wife that I have now gotten to know just through the course of going and spending some time there in Belgium every couple of years, as we do. And it was just a relaxing time. We tried not to overdo ourselves, because we knew that we had a big week once we traveled from Antwerp back over to London. We then stayed a week out in the British countryside, and that was a really great time. And of course, I shared with you in the first episode about my very first day there in Antwerp, the Saturday, having to go to the emergency room and everything. And so got all that out of the way, and it was a good thing. I mean, as I mentioned in episode number 2, when I was sharing that story, I'm glad that I went, because we would have been worried. I would have been worried. My wife surely would have been worried about the fact that I was having these pains and everything. And even though everything checked out just fine, I think that it was obviously in our best interest that we went and took care of that. So anyway, we're gonna let that John Deere set there, and we're gonna get in our Fendt. Now I think that the owner of this farm here has some has some seeds that we can get. So I think what we'll do is after we back into the fence there, or whatever we backed into, I think we'll go over here and check it out and go ahead and fill up our cedar. We're going to fill this guy up with canola. We're going to plant some canola over here. Just try to mix things up a little bit, and hopefully he's got some seeds over here. So we'll just take these because, waste not, want not, and all that kind of stuff. Clearly he is not going to be using this stuff, and we're going to try to, if he needs us to mow any of his fields, we can try to take care of that for him as well. Just try to do the good, for our neighbor, all that good stuff. Let's see if we can get some fertilizer loaded up in here. Where is the fertilizer? Oh, it's back here just a little bit further. There we go. Get some of this fertilizer. Of course, it's coming out of our money there, but we're not too worried about all that. All right, so we can go ahead and close the hatch on our planter there, our cedar, and we'll go ahead and drop her down. And we'll just go ahead and start seeding right here. This is the no-till cedar, so we can seed directly over the fresh plowed field is what I'm trying to say. I'm sidetracked with my thoughts here. So we did a lot of things on the England trip. I guess I kind of got through the Belgium storyline or report and everything a little bit quicker than I thought that I would. When we were in England, we went into London once. Had a little bit of a strange ordeal happen to us on Tower Bridge. We were walking along, and I try not to be too much of an alarmist and everything, and I understand that there's a lot of things that's going on in the world, and the world is perhaps not as safe of a place as it used to be. And of course 9/11 is something that's always sort of in the back of my mind, always thinking about that, and especially any time that I'm flying or in public or whatever, I always kind of have in the back of my mind that that there are people in the world that want to do evil. There are people in the world that want to hurt other people. And so obviously London has been a little bit of a hotbed for activities, some of it terrorist related, I think, maybe others is not so much. But anyway, so we were very, aware of our surroundings and all this kind of stuff when we were there. And so we were walking across Tower Bridge, heading over to the other side of the river, the Thames there. And we were walking along, and we had stopped a couple of times to take pictures. And of course, I think it was during the week. It wasn't a weekend. It was during the week. But school's back in session and everything there in the UK, and I guess maybe most parts of the world. But still, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people vacationing, and still, tourism and everything is what it is. And so there was a lot of people on the bridge walking and, just kind of talking and taking pictures and whatnot. And so there's also traffic, obviously. If you're not familiar with Tower Bridge, there is a pedestrian walkways on both sides of the bridge, but there's also, I think it's single lane each direction. So basically a two-lane path for vehicles, for cars, automobiles. And so, we're being very aware of everything, and more or less, our goal was just kind of get across the bridge, take in the sights and everything. We weren't gonna let fear or anything like that ruin our experience. But at the same time, we've been to this portion of London many, many times, and all that. So we're walking along, and there's a car that and the traffic is slow moving because there's a lot of traffic and everything. And actually up ahead at the end of the bridge, Metropolitan Police were actually doing some inspections of cars and stuff like that, and we didn't realize this until we got to that point. Well, we had a car that pulled up there and was kind of, again, it was slow moving traffic, and somebody yelled out of the car towards my wife saying that she had been selected for an acid attack. Now, if you're not familiar, you know that there have been some, stabbings and other things, but there's also been some people that have been attacked by folks pouring or squirting some kind of acid on them, on their face, whatever. And I didn't hear this, and I sort of was like, what were those people saying? And my wife's like, nothing, they were just, shouting something about, I think she told me it was about football or something. And I didn't really question it. Well, we got off the bridge, at the other end of the bridge, and she's like, well, this is what they said. And she repeated what they said to her. And I think what they were doing is they just literally spotted us for what we were, tourists. And I think they were just basically, they were having a laugh, even though that's not something that people should joke about, because it's a very serious nature. I mean, people are injured this way all the time. There have been people that have been killed. Then they're around the Houses of Parliament, Westminster Abbey, etc., because of knife attacks or people being run over or whatever. And so it's something that, obviously the City of London is taking serious, and, the entire world is taking serious. So, if we had been smart about it, I think we should have probably said something, especially since there was a police presence at the top of the bridge, and that car had not reached that point yet. But of course, I did not know, and she was not wanting to sort of let me on to what they had said until we kind of got off the bridge. But outside of that, and outside of the ER visit there in Belgium, our vacation really was uneventful. It really, really was. And we had a lot of fun. We did a couple of day trips out of the English countryside there, went down to Dover Castle. Very, very cool place. Lots of walking. If you ever get the opportunity to go to Dover Castle, be prepared to walk a whole lot. Make sure you wear comfortable shoes, comfortable clothing for whatever the weather is going to be like, because you're going to want to take in everything that there is to take in there at Dover Castle, because it is such a beautiful place, and we had a lot of fun there. We also went to a little town called Rye, R-Y-E, and sort of its claim to fame is the cobblestone streets. And I think I might have mentioned this in the previous, in episode number 1, or maybe even in episode number 2, about that. But there was a show that my wife enjoys watching. It's a little series, and I can't. Mappin' Lucia, I think it is. So if you're from the UK, you're probably familiar with this show. Well, it was sort of based there. Well, it was filmed there. The show was filmed there, and we went up into the church tower, the spire. You can go up and take a look at the entire sort of the surrounding areas and everything. And it's very close to the sea, so we could see the the North Sea or the English Channel from that location, and just a very, very beautiful place. And then of course we hung out in the little town that our cottage is in, that we stay at. It's a little town called Tunbridge Wells, and it's sort of known for its wells, its springs. I believe there's one other location that's kind of known, I can't think of what it is right now, that's kind of known for its healing waters and everything. Well, these wells were discovered back in the Victorian time frame, I believe, and so they are believed to have healing powers and whatnot, and so you can actually drink them. There's usually somebody that is standing there, kind of in period dress, clothing style and everything, that's dipping a ladle into the spring there and pulling up the water. I tried it the very first time we went there, and this is probably our seventh time to stay in Tunbridge Wells over the course of the last 15 or 16 years that we've been going. And I tried it the very first time that I went there because I guess it was kind of the novelty of it. My wife used to live in Tunbridge Wells, actually. She lived there for 3 or 4 years, and so that's kind of how she's aware of this area. And it's one of the reasons why she enjoys going there is because she used to live there, and she has some friends there and everything. But the water was very, had a lot of iron taste to it. And it was okay. There's a town actually here in Colorado, just down I-25 from us, near Colorado Springs, called Manitou Springs, and it's sort of the same thing. It's known for its springs, and there's a couple of places where you can drink it there along the street, and it's kind of the same thing. It's very has a lot of kind of lead content to it, and maybe a bit of sulfur smell to it as well. But anyway, it is what it is. And so I just kind of remembered that the time that I had the waters there in Tunbridge Wells the very first time, it did upset my stomach just a little bit for an hour or two. But outside of that, I mean, I didn't have any negative effects, and I certainly don't necessarily recall anything, miraculous happening and whatnot. But anyway, so we've got this field planted. So this is our canola field, and that's going to be great to get the canola growing here. And of course, we are playing without the seasons mod. Just once again, as a reminder, in case you might think that I had failed to activate it, or oops, we still have this section up here to do, that I might have failed to activate it or something. Nope, did not. Just chose to do things a little bit different. I have been playing with the Seasons mod since the very moment that it came out, or it came out in beta, that I was able to find it and install it and everything, and I've absolutely loved it, and I still do. I am playing one other map kind of offline. I'm not planning on doing any videos on that particular map, and of course I've got the Seasons mod running on that, and it's a lot of fun and everything. But I just kind of wanted to do things a little bit different, and hopefully you all understand. And whatever might come next, if we do something either alongside this map or maybe after, if we spend a little bit of time, because obviously playing without the Seasons mod, let me go ahead and pull up here, and we're gonna go ahead and grab this John Deere and bring him back with us, because that way I don't have to come back down here and get him. If we do something that is another map after this one, I may obviously entertain the idea of putting Seasons back in, but don't know. I just wanted a little bit of a change, and so that's what we're doing. And actually, interestingly enough, with the exception of a few folks that I watch, like Doug Zorley, Farmer Klein, quite a few of those guys are still obviously come on, Gate. There we go. They're using the Seasons mod, but a lot of the other big names that maybe some of you all watch, I have noticed that they're not using the Seasons mod. So not real sure why they choose not to do that, but it is what it is. And so all right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking over at my clock, and it is looking like it is time to rock and let you all get on with your rest of your day and whatever you've got going on. I wanted to once again thank you all so very much for watching my episodes, for being my friend, hanging out with me here, and saying hi in the chat and in the comments for the videos, and also coming over to Discord and checking those out. I would like to just quickly, and of course I'm going to try to get this video up, edited, rendered, uploaded, and all that kind of stuff before the weekend. I'd kind of like to get this one out there, and maybe even get another one, maybe episode 4 done before the next Fact Sheet Friday comes out, because that way I can talk a little bit about Fact Sheet Friday 1 and 2, which kind of corresponds with the blog posting. But in any event, if you are not a subscriber of my good buddy Eustace Farmer, Eustace Farmer released a video today, and again, today is Monday, the 17th, I believe, September the 17th. And he showcased his John Deere pack that he basically modded, and set up, and is based on Giant's existing equipment. But he painted it all up John Deere green, and made his own logos and everything. Very, very nice equipment. The telehandler that we have up at the main farm is part of that. Eustace gave me access to this mod a couple of days ago, and of course I hadn't put a telehandler on the map yet, and so it was very good timing because I got that going. And I'm guessing our I didn't even notice our John Deere tractor pulling the plow isn't behind us. So, oh well, best laid plans of mice and men, right? Well, anyway, I'll go down there and get that in just a moment. So he released this video, this showcase video. It's got a tipper, it's got a combine and a couple of headers, and then it also has the telehandler. And I think maybe something else, but I can't remember what that something else is right now. But anyway, go check out that video. He'll tell you how to get that pack if you want it, because he made that pack for his loyal viewers, friends, whatever. That's who he made it for, and it's actually available on the Simulation Gaming Society Discord server. But Eustace will fill you in on how to get that, and we would love to. Of course, I mean he did the mod, so I say we. It's, you know, I'm speaking on behalf of him, but you know, certainly I invite you to come over to Simulation Gaming Society. We'd like for you to be a part of the community, hang out. Don't just come over there for the mod itself. Come over there, sign up, join up, whatever. It's all free and everything. But do that and be a part of the community. Hang out with us. You know, we get into some fun conversations from time to time. Eustace and Doug Zorley get at each other's throat from time to time, and it's just a good deal. We have a lot of fun. There's a lot of folks that have signed up and joined the Discord server in the last couple of days, and that is just fantastic. And we would like to have all that are interested are more than willing to come over and hang out with us again, and you can pick up that John Deere mod pack and everything for your virtual farm, because after all, that is why Eustace did all that work. It took him a little while. I know he had been working on it for many months, because it was something that he mentioned to me several, even before I took my break. So I know that it's something that he has been working on, has wanted to present to his friends, to his viewers, to all of us, and so he's done that, and it's a fantastic mod. So anyway, without further ado, folks, I'm going to go ahead and close this out because I am rambling, and I don't like to do that because it wastes your time, and I don't like to do that. So anyway, thank you again for watching. Come back again for episode number 4, and again, I'm going to try to get that to you maybe before the Fact Sheet Friday, and we'll talk about, I'm going to take this shortcut and see where this goes. We're going to talk about everything that is going on with Farm Sim 19. I am so looking forward to it. Although I just realized today, I'm going to say this and then I'll shut up. I just realized today that I'm going to most likely be out of town when Farm Sim 19 is released. Farm Sim, if you're here in the US, Farm Sim 19 releases obviously on November 20th, all the way around the world on the November 20th, but that is the week of Thanksgiving. And my wife and I typically go to Texas to visit my family, my parents down in Texas, and we usually leave on the weekend before and stay through Thanksgiving, and usually come back on like either Friday or Saturday, so that we have a day or two to rest before we go back to work on the Monday after, which would be Cyber Monday, I suppose. So anyway, it's going to release. You guys are going to be having fun with it and everything, and especially if you're in the U.S. and you have some time off at Thanksgiving, you're going to have the opportunity to spend some time with Farm Sim 19. And I'm just going to have to kind of live vicariously through everyone, maybe through your comments on Discord, and of course following folks. I'm sure Doug Zorley is going to be putting out videos, maybe some live streams and everything on Farm Sim 19 the minute that he gets it. I think he plans to ride the horse for a 24-hour live stream or something like that. I don't know what's up with that, but anyway, again, thank you, folks. I'm going to shut up and let you all get on to your rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.